And welcome to another episode of the Rorschach Test Podcast. I am your host, Terrell James. Today, I have a very special guest, Terrell James. Today is my birthday. I turned 41 years young. So, this podcast is going to be all about me. But I'm going to conduct the podcast the same way I do with everybody else. I'm going to put up a Rorschach test, and I'm going to link it to my life. I think I may try to link it to my passions and it'll probably lead there. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I have a couple of pictures that I have put up here. I'm somewhat prepared for this, but not completely. I decided to just talk. I know that there's certain things that I want to say, but I don't even know exactly how I'm going to deliver it, to be completely honest with you. So I'm just going to talk. Just going to get this stuff out of here. But I'm going to stick with the theme of the Rorschach Test Podcast, and I'm going to put up pictures. You know what? I just realized something. I forgot to, where is, I don't know. This is so unprofessional of me, but whatever. I don't care. All right, there we go. Got the words at the bottom. The Rorschach Test Podcast hosted by Terrell James. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So for anybody, if it's your first time watching, what I do here is I put up a series of Rorschach tests. I normally have a guest. And what I do is I show the guests the Rorschach test and I ask them what they see. Based off of what they see, I link it to their passions, who they are as a person, and what it is that they do for a living. But of course, this time, since there are no guests, it's just me, I'm going to psychoanalyze myself to a degree. So I'm going to go ahead and get into it. Again, today is my 41st birthday. So a lot of this is going to be based off of the number 41. And here we go. That's the first picture there, 41. So I am going to come back to that in a second. And the Rorschach test that I want to put up here is this one. So this is the logo that I use for my podcast. If you look in the right-hand corner, in the upper right-hand corner, you will see the logo. And anytime I'm conducting this Rorschach Test Podcast, that's the logo that you will see. But this is the test that I want to use for myself. So what I see here, I see a bull. I see the nose of the bull. I see the eyes. I see the horns. And if I try to break this down, a lot of times I like to pull back and look at the picture in totality. And then I like to come a little bit closer and then break down certain parts of it. Now, I look at certain parts of it. In the middle, I see a vagina. I'm going to spare you my connection to the vagina. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. But if we go to the top, right there where the horns are. It looks like two wolves that are howling. They're looking up, and it looks like they're maybe howling at the moon. So I'm going to come back to this picture, and I'm going to link this picture to the number 41, my age now. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to break up. I'm going to deal with the number 4. I'm going to deal with the number 1. So let's start with the number 1. All right. Going back to this picture here, 41. So we're going to start with the number 1. And going back to this picture, I want to deal with the wolves. Look at the wolves here. Actually, let's start with the bull. With everything that I've done, I have a lot of things that I do and a lot of things that I have done in my life. And it's a long list, from music to acting to politics to boxing Now podcasting, personal training, nutritionist, master herbalist. Um, I'm sure I'm leaving something. Oh, stock trading, just investments, real estate investments. I've done a lot of things and doing a lot of things. Um, I pretty much, I pretty much, with the exception of politics right now, I'm doing everything that I just named, still doing it. And politics is something that I will revisit. I got involved in politics for a brief period, knowing that I was not going to stay, but I wanted to position people. Um, I don't want to get too in depth with this, but I wanted to position people. I got into a position, into a pretty good position in politics. And then I brought in certain people and let them know, you do what you want to do with politics. I want you to rise and get whatever positions you want to get in. And then remember that I put you in these positions because later on I'm going to be back. So we'll revisit this years from now. This isn't anything I want to touch on right now. But as far as everything else, now the wolf and the number one. So years ago, I went to an amusement park. I don't remember. It was either Hershey Park or Six Flags. I can't remember which one it was. But they had a wolf exhibit. And at this wolf exhibit, there was this this wolf. He was this one wolf. He was standing on top of a rock, and then there were a bunch of other wolves that were standing around him, and they were looking at this wolf that was on this rock. And this wolf would howl, and every time this wolf would howl, the rest of the wolves would howl. And he clearly was the leader of the pack. I felt a connection that day. I fell in love with wolves. Wolves became my favorite animals. And I felt like I felt a connection to this wolf, to this particular wolf, because I know at so many points in my life, I felt like the lone wolf. I have moved alone, but I have also separated myself from the pack and also put myself in a position of leadership so that the pack followed me. I remember even being younger, and when a lot of my friends or my peers would be interested in something, if it was too many of them that was interested in this one particular thing, I would shy away from it because I didn't want to follow the pack. And so, and that's just how I have always lived my life. I've been the person where I've always had a lot of friends, but oftentimes you see me and I'm by myself because I just want to move alone as that lone wolf. Now, the other thing about that number one, I've also wanted to be number one at every single thing that I do. I'm extremely competitive, but I'm extremely driven. And I'm driven by everything. I'm driven by success. I'm driven by failure. I'm driven by other people's success. I am driven by other people's failures. I am driven by people. I'm driven by people admiring me or putting me up on a pedestal or saying that I'm doing great things. I am driven by people trying to snatch me down off of the pedestal. It does not matter what it is. I do not give the control to the crowd. I maintain that control to make sure that I always want to ensure that nobody is ever in a position where they can control whether or not I'll become successful. So I just kind of back off. And anytime I see a crowd, I pull away from it, shy away from it. I want to be number one. It's funny. I've even been playing spades like with my family. My mother is there, and whomever else. And my mother has said to me before, she said, you know what? Because like my mother, like I'm very competitive. I don't care that you're my mother. You can, when we play in spades, you can get it too. It does not matter. You can be my mother, my wife, my kid. I don't care who it is. You can get it too because I'm just that competitive. And my mother has said to me, she's laughed and said, I've never seen anybody so competitive before in my life. She said, I'm your mother. Why are you treating me like this? Because you are standing in the way of me being number one. That's why. Now, of course, that's just cards. I'm not going to step on my mother when it comes to other things. Whatever. As far as I'm concerned, she's number one. She's number one in my life. So, um, well, along with my wife, whatever. You know what I'm saying. Anyway, so, but that just having that mentality, always wanting to be number one. Even in high school, when I first started rapping, the grades would all click up. So the ninth grade had their click, 10th grade had their click, 11th, 12th. So, and the grades, they would battle each other. And I remember my class, you know, a couple of the guys were rapping. They came to me and they said, hey, you want to rap with us as we're battling these other grades? And I said, no, I want to battle the entire school by myself. I want all of y'all, every single one of y'all. I didn't want to share that number one spot. You can't share number one. You can't share one. If there are two or three or four, you can't share number one. So I mean, granted, you can if you're part of a team. But I was in a position where I didn't have to be part of a team. I could be number one all by myself. So that's what I did. That's what I did. I battled everybody. I didn't care. Anybody can get it. Graduated high school and still held on to that same mentality. As a rapper, when I started boxing, and in politics, I mean, I was just willing to do whatever I had to do to be number one. Morally, I want to say that. I would do anything morally to be number one. Now, if other people decide to get a little dirty, cool, I can get dirty too. Fine, you throw morals out the window, so do I. No problem. It's politics. I can't tell you those stories, but politics. So, but yeah, the number one has been very, very significant to me. I remember at the age of 10, that's when I decided that I wanted to. I remember at 10 years old, I remember two things. 10 years old, I was in a play at school. I remember the exact place I was standing on that stage when I had this thought. I was performing. I had two thoughts. Number one, I knew that I wanted to be an actor. Number two, I knew I didn't want to go to college because I wanted to be an actor. When I did go to college, I did one semester at UDC, University of the District of Columbia. And I was, my writing, I took an English class, a math class. I had a freshman orientation class, and I dropped that class because the guy said something about your next 16 Saturdays belong to me. Whatever, dog. Whatever. Last time I saw him. So, and I dropped that class. So my English class, because I'm a writer, was so easy for me. It was so easy for me. And my writing, I was offered a scholarship to Howard University, a two-year scholarship to Howard because of my writing. But I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to go to school. I wanted to do this on my own. Number one, I wanted to be on my own. I didn't want it. So my education didn't go very far, but my knowledge just expands. Like, I mean, it goes far. It's very, very far reaching. So I continued to do my research. I continued to educate myself when it came to whatever it is that I decided I wanted to get into. So, and I knew that I needed to educate myself in order to be number one. when it came to music, when it came to boxing, when it came to acting, when it comes to like personal training, even with personal training, when I decided I wanted to be a personal trainer and a boxing coach, and I got certified as a boxing coach, um, I knew that I had to do something that was going to separate me from what everybody else was doing. So I went and I got a bunch of certifications. I got certified as a personal trainer, as a boxing coach, as a nutritionist, as a master herbalist, as a clinical weight loss coach, as an acupressurist. I just went and got, because I wanted to be a one-stop shop for my clients. I'll train you. You need to know how to eat. I'll take care of that. You're in pain. I can take care of that. You want to learn how to box? I can do that. Now I'm in the process of becoming a Krav Maga instructor. But I just wanted to be very, very well-rounded, because I wanted to be able to bring so much to the table that if for some reason something happened between me and the other person at the table, if I got up and left, I would take everything with me and that table will fall over, because my stuff was holding that table down. That's the position that I wanted to put myself in. That's why I've always kept the mentality of always be number one. I saw a bumper sticker years ago that said, second place is first loser. And I held on to that. I never wanted to be first loser. I always want to be number one. I even had a flag football team. I coached the team. I played on the team. My jersey, number one. Number one. I always want to be number one. And I know when, a lot of times people have called me arrogant. People have called me conceited. And that's not the case at all. Arrogant people don't have compassion. Arrogant people don't care about other people as much as I care. I'm not arrogant. I'm not conceited. I'm driven. And I have a vision. And when I have a vision, I can't let anybody or anything alter that vision. You can enhance that vision. I don't mind if you come along and you do or you say things to enhance that vision, but you can't alter that vision. You can't change it. I am a creator. You can't change what I am creating. So it's not that I'm being arrogant. It's not that I'm being conceited. It's that I have a vision. I believe in that vision. I will stand behind that vision. I will live and die behind that vision and do whatever I have to do to make that vision come to life. So it's not arrogance. It's not conceit. It's not what it is. It's just the drive that I have. So that number one means so much to me. Now, the other thing, and just expanding on that whole, or expounding, should I say, on that not being arrogant and conceited thing, my personal definition of success is not measured by money or things. It's about what I can do for other people. It's about my personal definition of success is how I can create opportunities for other people and what I can do and give to other people. When I'm in a position that I can do that on a level that is just phenomenal, then I'll say that I'm successful. But I don't care about the things that I can buy. I don't care about all of that stuff. I don't care about that. I got a nice car, so what? Whatever. Doesn't mean anything. It's material. It's material. I was in a car accident back in October. My car flipped over. It's material. It was replaced. This can't be replaced. The things that I can do for people cannot be replaced if I'm gone. Not coming from me anyway. So that's how I look at success. I don't care about things. I care about people and what I can do for people. But in order for me to be in that position, in my mind, as far as my plan and my vision, I have to be number one. I have to be number one in whatever it is that I do. And I'm driven to get to that point. Okay, so now let's move on to the number 4. All right. So I want to go back here, remind y'all that I'm 41 years young. And I think, if I remember correctly, I think I may have said I was 41 years old. I didn't mean to use that word old. I meant to say young. I'm 41 years young. That word young, very important. I'm going to get to young soon in a second. Give me a second. Remember, I said young. Okay. All right. Now, go back to this. A bull. I saw a bull's face. The bulls, they charge into things. And they see red and they charge. That's also how I have operated. You can't stop me. You can do whatever it is that you can do, or say whatever it is that you want to say. It's not going to stop me. If you make me mad, if I see red, I'm going to charge. And I'm going to do so with everything inside of me that I am using to become successful. I'm going to charge in a way that is not self-destructive. I am going to charge in a way that is conducive to me becoming successful. It doesn't matter what you do or say. You don't have that power or control over me being number one. I'm sorry, I did say I wanted to get to the number 4 now. Let's get to the number 4. All right. The number 4 is very, very important to me. I'm not into numerology. I am into, we'll call it consistent symbolism. I am into consistent symbolism. That number 4 has been very repetitive. It's been very consistent for me for years. I'm not going to break down the way the number 4 has reoccurred in my life, because we'll be here all day with me trying to explain that to you. But I want to go somewhere else other than the number 4 has been very, very big as far as my success, or the road to success. It's played a major part. But I want to go somewhere else with this number 4. The number 4, April. April is the 4th month of the year. So my son was born in April. My father died in April. My father died in 2013. 1 + 3, that's 4. So I'm going to come back to that in a second. Remember, before I said 41 years young, I said young. Don't forget that word young. All right, let's go here. All right. That's Chase Young. That's Chase Young's jersey right there. So Chase Young plays for the Washington Commanders, formerly the Washington football team, formerly the Washington Redskins. Had so many names. Chase Young. My mother bought me this jersey for Christmas. Now, the funny thing is, I haven't worn jerseys in years. I don't know why she bought me this jersey. I could have told her, I don't want this jersey. My mother has thick skin. She's really thick skin. Thank God she has thick skin. She's given me thick skin. I can take whatever too. I can tell her. There's been plenty of things that she's gotten. I'm like, Mom, I don't particularly care for this. She goes and she exchanges it. She gets me what I want. It's great, right? I haven't worn jerseys in years. For some reason, I saw this jersey and was like, I'm wearing this jersey. Now, I love Chase Young. I absolutely love Chase Young. But I was excited. I was excited about this jersey. And so I'm going to break this down, okay? Stay with me for a second. Check this out. Let's start with Chase. When I was let's leave ages out of this, because people watching may be able to put 2 and 2 together, and I don't necessarily want that to happen right now. I was dealing with a woman with a young lady. And this was years ago. Years ago. Well, I don't want anything to get confused. I'm married now. This was years ago. Years ago, there was a young lady that I was dating. But prior to me and her dating, she was in a relationship with a guy named Chase. And I took her from Chase. So a couple years later, and me and her, we had broken up at this point. A few years later, I called to place an order for some food, and they asked for my name, and I said Chase. And I sat there and I was thinking to myself, that was my way of paying homage to Chase because I took his girl from him. So that's what I would do. So now, like even now, it's been years I've been doing this. I'll place an order for something, and I'll say, yeah, my name is Chase. I'll tell them Chase. That was my way of paying homage to him. Then it hit me one day. You ain't really paying homage to the guy. You took his name and his girl. Whatever. I'm not going to stop. Still going to call myself Chase. Shout out to Chase, wherever you are, man. It's been over 20 years since I've even seen. That's how long it's been. It's been over 20 years, but whatever. I don't care. Anyway, so Chase. I've been Chase, right? All right. Now, going back to my father. My father, when I was a little boy, he shared with me that quick disclaimer for any family that may be watching. So my name is Terrell James. For any family on my James side, everybody doesn't know this, but biologically, my last name is not James. My last name is Young. My father took his stepfather's last name. Not going to get into all of the details, but my father took his stepfather's last name, which is James. His biological father is Young. Technically, I don't have any James blood. I am very proud of that name. I will never change my name. I am James, but I am Young as well. I am, and I have to I have to make that very clear that I am proud, very, very proud to be a James, but I'm also very, very proud to be a Young. So all I knew was that my granddaddy's last name was Young. I didn't ask any questions. I'm thinking that at that age, I probably felt so much of a loyalty to my daddy that I didn't feel like I should be asking questions. Didn't want to pry. I didn't ask questions about my granddaddy until 2 months before my daddy died. And even then, I didn't ask a lot of questions. I asked what he looked like. I can't even remember everything else that I asked. So, my father died, like I said, he passed in 2013. And any questions that I had at that point, as far as I was concerned, would just be unanswered forever. Okay. Now, let's put up another picture here. Ancestry, DNA. I want to go back to this picture. Chase Young, Jersey. My mother gave me this for this past Christmas, 2021. Ancestry, DNA. My wife gave me this 2021 Christmas. All right. I get on the Ancestry and I find out, my origins, and it's so cool because I figured out I was 72% of where I come from is in Africa. The majority of it, it was, I believe, 27% Congo, Bantu peoples, and Cameroon. that was all considered one region, 24% Nigerian. Then there was Mali. There was it Bali? Bali. It's one of the two. I don't know. I can't remember. I haven't been to either one. I've been to Nigeria, which was cool because I haven't been to Nigeria since I found out about this. But I went a few years ago, and it was pretty cool. Now looking back, and I was like, I went home. It was cool. But then there's also the Ivory Coast. Can't remember everything. And then there's the part of me that's white. I'm 1% Irish. And there's parts from England. There's that's the other part of me. It's all my heritage, and I love it all. And I would love to visit every single one of these places, just because it's where I'm from. It's great. I highly encourage everybody to do Ancestry or 23andMe, I believe it's called, or whatever. Because it's so enlightening. It's wonderful. But what it does, it also shows you your matches. It shows you other people who have done Ancestry and who have matching DNA. Started going through the matches. I started coming across Youngs. Started sending some messages. First person I sent a message to was a guy named Morris Young. That's my daddy's name, Morris Young. You're also able to see people's family trees. And I clicked on somebody else's family tree, and at the top of their family tree was Morris Franklin Young. Biologically, that's my daddy's name, Morris Franklin Young. Now, of course, like I said, he took his stepfather's last name, so it's Morris Franklin James. But we're talking about blood here. I was able to find out that this guy, Morris Franklin Young, was my granddaddy. I went to the cemetery because I also found out he's buried at Arlington Cemetery. My granddaddy fought in World War II. I went to go see him. I had so many questions answered at that point. There were still more questions that I needed to be answered, but I just felt like I felt that a part of my identity that I had been chasing since I was a kid, it was almost complete. But then I started sending other messages to people who I had DNA matches with, and they, one person in particular, my cousin Jam. What's up, Jam? Love you. My cousin Jam, she and I, we connected and found out that we are first cousins. And her mother is my daddy's sister. So I have been able to connect with my family. With the Youngs, I have aunts and uncles and cousins. It has been an amazing experience. This is all fairly new. This just happened last month in January. So this year for me, even though I wasn't 41 when I connected with them, but this year and everything that I feel that this year is going to represent for me, this year started off on such a high note with me connecting with them. I am like really, really excited about where this is going. Again, I want to remind you that this number 4, where this 4 was coming in, this 4 and this 1, I've already talked about the number 1 and the number 4. I'm linking that to my daddy. My daddy passing in April. That's the 4th month, and 2013, that 3 + 1, that equals 4. That is, it's big to me. And then going back to that Chase Young jersey, I was going by Chase. My biological last name is Young. I'm Chase Young. So, the funny thing is, when I look at this jersey and this DNA kit, both my mother and my wife gave me Youngs for Christmas. Mother gave me my last name that I can wear on my back. My wife helped me to connect with my family. And it has just been amazing. It's been amazing. Even shortly before I started this podcast, right before I started this podcast, my cousin Jam, the one that I just spoke about, she happened to call me to tell me happy birthday right before I started this podcast. And it has just been such an amazing, amazing journey connecting with them. And I have a whole nother family. I'm very, very big on family. My James side, my Youngs, and then my mother's side of the family, which is the Caldwells. That I am really, really big on family. And, growing up, just to be completely honest with you, I've been the closest to the Caldwells, my mother's family. I've been closer to them than anyone else. But it has just made me realize, I've always known the importance of family, but it has made me want to just connect with and stay connected to my other family. I need to connect with the James side more. I need to connect. And don't get me wrong, there is no disconnection there. I just want to connect more with them. I want to, continue to build and grow with the Youngs. It's just been a very, very amazing journey. I am extremely excited about everything that this year is about to bring and that 41 is about to bring for me. I have plans. I am working on my 9th book. 7 of my books have been published. The 8th one I've been sitting on for about a year now. I just need to end it. I just need to end. I am probably about a paragraph away from ending this book, and it's been like that for a year, but I'm such a perfectionist. And all a perfectionist is someone who does something until it's perfect, and then it still isn't perfect. I'm such a perfectionist that I just have to, I need to let my creativity work when it wants to work. When it doesn't want to work, I can't force it. So it'll come when it comes. I'm working on another book. I'm excited about that. I have I put together maybe going on 2 years now, I guess. I put together a murder mystery team for acting. My son is part of that murder mystery team, but he just played Macbeth in a play at school, and he has done an awesome job. This kid is absolutely amazing at acting. So my plan when it comes to acting is to make sure his career takes off. If I want to be huge, I want to be big, but if I can't make it, so be it. I want to make sure that this kid is the next Denzel or Idris Elba or whomever. I just want this kid to do amazing things, and he has it. He has that inside of him. He's really amazing. He amazes me all the time. I just have a lot of things that I plan on getting back into the music industry. I'm on the production side now. I probably will still rap because I can do it, and I can do it at a high level, and I can do it better than a lot of y'all. Probably most of y'all, maybe even all of y'all, but whatever. You got a problem with it, come see me about it. Anyway, let's see, politics. That's going to be something further down the line. I'll get to that when I get to that. There's some things that have to be in place, and when it's time, I'll do it. Personal training, boxing, more so boxing on the business side of things. Got some plans there too. Can't really get into everything, but I got some plans there too. Krav Maga, I got some plans there too. Not getting into all of that stuff either yet, but one thing that I will do is I will continue to pay attention to these numbers, number 4 and number 1. Like I said, number 4 has been a consistent number of it's been symbolically consistent for me for many years. It has been my confirmation of my success. It has been confirmation that I'm on the right path. And I just I love it every time I see the number. I just love it. It means so much to me. Number one, it's meant a lot to me. Always wanting to be the best at everything that I do. Always wanting to be number one. Always understanding that number two is first loser. And I get it. Second place, it's not always that bad. The Bengals just lost the Super Bowl, but essentially second place in the NFL, right? Years from now, who are we going to talk about? The Bengals? We're going to talk about the Rams. We're going to talk about the Rams. Not even years from now. 6 months from now. Who are we going to talk about? The Bengals. We're going to talk about the Rams. We're going to talk about the Rams. And that's why that number one spot is so important to me. Because number two can be overlooked. Number two, you were great, but you weren't great enough. So that's how I'm choosing to live my life. Everything that I do, I want to be number one. I always want to be number one. Always want to be the best at what I do. I'm never going to lose my competitive spirit. I'm never going to lose my drive, no matter what anybody does or says, no matter what obstacles are in front of me. Any obstacle, as far as I'm concerned, is just an opportunity to be great. That's it. So I welcome all obstacles. I welcome naysayers. I welcome it all, because nothing and nobody has the power to dictate my success except me and God. That's it. You got to come through us. So with that being said, I want to thank you all for your time. I want to yeah, that's it. I just want to thank you for your time. Hopefully you're able to sit through this. If you didn't sit through the whole thing, it's on YouTube. What you got to do is go back and watch the whole thing. It's cool. It's gems. There are gems all through this. So, but again, I appreciate this. I really appreciate your time. Tell me happy birthday. You can leave it in the comments or whatever, or don't say happy birthday. I don't really care. I went on Facebook. I told all my friends on Facebook, and instead of telling me happy birthday, just roast me. I love that. Just roast me. Send a bunch of insults. That's hilarious to me. That's hilarious. Make this thing interesting. Make it funny. I'm okay with that. I got thick skin. I can take it all. So, again, thank you so much for your time. And I'm going to close this out the same way I close out every other Rorschach test. Always tell my people that I'm interviewing, I have one more test for you, and I want you to tell me exactly what it is that you see. And I put this up. This podcast is so dope, and I'm sure you couldn't agree more. Thank you again for your time, and y'all be easy.